All right, and then we're gonna hit admit. We're gonna get some people in here, and yay! And I know that people are gonna be rolling on in, which is what
Rolling,
happens every
rolling,
time.
rolling.
Rolling, rolling, rolling. So yay! We have hit the magical hour, 7 o'clock. And I know I see people are actually popping in. So you're gonna see people popping in. Don't worry about it. It takes a minute or two to get everybody in. We'll keep rolling everyone on in. But before then, first, welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming and thank you for spending some time with us this evening. We are very, very grateful. And as always, you have Scott and I, your Smoky Mountain Bears. And there's Barrett Trish down there. Look at that. Yay. And then don't forget, we have the incomparable Marnie Whipple. Yay!
Yay!
So the good news is that she is here and she is actually entertaining. She tells us stories and tells us what makes Crystal different. And that is what we all want to hear at all times. And Trish just came back. And then we also have some amazing, amazing, amazing opportunities coming up this year and next year with Crystal, where we have some very special pricing and some very special deals for everybody that I'm sure we'll be talking about. So that being said, I'm going to actually do something that none of you have ever seen before. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to go ahead and
Wow.
let Marnie talk. Yes. So please take it away.
Hey, welcome everybody. It's great to have you. Sean, Scott, Trish, thanks for being here and hosting with me. It's a great pleasure to be here. So I'm going to just jump right in. I talk really quickly. We have a lot to cover. I love Crystal. I know that everybody who's been on board loves it just the same. So here we go. Welcome to Crystal and the Connected Traveler. We're going to focus today on three fabulous voyages. There are many other choices, but I'm going to highlight three different itineraries. But first, I want to share why Crystal, because I think some of you have not been on board before. So I'm going to talk about the Crystal difference first and foremost. I'll show you some pictures of our home away from home, and then I'm going to jump into the itineraries and then share some of the specials. So with Crystal, you're really treated like royalty, but you feel like family at the same time. It's really hard to describe until you experience it. But all of these lovely people that you see here, it's the heart and soul of Crystal. Our crew are what make us who we are. And we have just about 90% of the same crew that we had before, let's call it the Great Pause. We don't like to say the COVID word very often. We'll call it the Great Pause. So to me, it's an honor that 90% of our crew came back home. And that speaks to Crystal. And I was also with Crystal before the Great Pause and so happy to be back home. So the sense of family that we have, it permeates throughout the ship. Here we have Reiner and his sons Thomas and Frederick. It's just really special to see and feel that. I was with Reiner on the last voyage and just, I don't know, there's this sort of heartwarming feel that you get throughout the voyage. And I'll share some stories throughout. And it's the service, it's that welcome home. And Sean and Scott, you heard me share this story once before, but it's so remarkable. I'm compelled to just continue sharing it. So I had not cruised on Crystal from 2019 until September 30th of 2025. And when I stepped on board the ship, now keep in mind, I have really high expectations. I work for Crystal, I love Crystal, and still the crew knocked my socks off. The number of crew family who said, Marnie, welcome home. Where have you been? We missed you. And do you want that cappuccino you always used to like? And so what did I do? Of course, I went into the totally new booking system. I thought, oh, they must have this database on me too. So I looked up Marnie Whipple, and there's no profile preference that says Marnie Whipple likes cappuccino. It came from their hearts, and multiple crew remembered that I liked the cappuccino. So there's so many little things that make you feel special on Crystal, and that's the why of who we are. And our home, as we do this, is either the Symphony or Serenity. The three cruises I'll be talking about today are all on the Serenity. So the Symphony, just a 606 guest. Serenity is only 740. Before the Great Pause, the Serenity had 1,090 guests. So we did a major renovation. She only has the 740, and I'll show you some of those special places. And just for fun, I'll share that our newest ship, the Crystal Grace, will be starting June 11th of 2028. So we all have a lot of voyages to enjoy going forward. So we're going to focus on perfectly at home, our world-class dining, our exceptional entertainment, and our wonderful enriching experiences. because it's not just about the cruise, and we know that. It's not just about being on board, but it's where does your home take you? How are we getting you there? And what are we doing landside? And with that, Abercrombie and Kent, some of you know, they have been around for over 60 years. They were started by Jeff Kent. And now we have Manfredi, who owns Crystal Cruises. He also owns Abercrombie and Kent. So there's this wonderful partnership and synergy. We're talking world-class luxury tour operator from door-to-door white glove service. And wherever we can with this synergy, we do the land side, whether it's before your cruise, after your cruise, or the excursions that you're enjoying during the voyage. It's quite the team that curates all of this and puts it together. And we're also all inclusive. There's nothing that drives me personally crazier, probably because I love Crystal so much. But when you're on vacation and you really just want to relax and be in the moment, you don't want to sign your name for every little thing. You just want to relax and be. So Crystal includes gratuities. You're welcome to share more, but it is not necessary. I personally always still give gratuities to my family on board because they just really go above and beyond, but it is a personal choice and not necessary. We include welcome champagne, which is Jacquard, so proper champagne from Champagne, France, as you're greeted, or unless you're me, you'll be greeted with a cappuccino. And then we also have our dining that's included. We'll talk about the specialty dining, which is Umiuma, which is Nobu's restaurant, Osteria. We have the beef bar. So we're talking Michelin star rated dining experiences. And then I have a whole list. I'm not going to read through the list because you can also read through that. But I appreciate that with the Wi-Fi with Crystal, we have the Starlink service. So it's a really high speed Wi-Fi, and we include 4 devices. So if you are like me and you're working on board your holiday, like there's always a little combination that we sneak in there. You'll have ample Wi-Fi to have multiple devices. So you don't have to toggle if you're working with a VPN. And it's also fast enough that you don't need to pay anything extra to have the video capability. So on my last cruise that I told you about, I could see that I was kind of feeling myself sway because I was having a day at sea. And then somebody sent me a message and said, "Are you on a ship?" I said, "How did you know?" They said, "Because we can see that you're swaying." But otherwise, you couldn't tell from the video. It's really solid quality. And we spoke about Abercrombie and Kent, so I won't go further into that one, but a really wonderful partnership. And I'm also really proud of our onboard family because we've only been operating for just about 3 years since the Great Pause, and we started already winning all of these awards and recognition. 100% it is the crew. This has nothing to do with any of us in sales or marketing or the team in the office in Miami or Chicago or London, whoever's putting it together. This is all about the crew, and you'll feel it when you're on board the ship. So congratulations to our crew for welcoming us home. And with that feeling of being perfectly at home, I'm going to show us some of the staterooms so you get a feel for what these spaces are. When Crystal first started 35 years ago, the Japanese NYK, the shipping company, they founded Crystal, and it was very much with the feng shui sense. So there's this openness, and now imagine that feng shui married with the Italian style, with Manfredi's wonderful influence and millions of investments. The ships were beautiful before, but you'll see really updated with stunning marble, the Ortesia amenities, the lovely thread count, the high thread count, 1,000 thread count actually, sheets, and the beautiful other amenities that we have in the room. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start us at the top. So welcome home. We're going to start at the top, and then I'm going to work our way to other categories here. The Crystal Penthouse is our top accommodation. We only have 4 of these rooms. I'm not sure on the 3 sailings that we're all working on today together, the dreaming about which one we're cruising. I don't know how many of these Crystal Penthouses are open, but you can see the square footage is amazing, 1,265 square feet plus another 107 square feet of veranda. You have a completely wonderful, spacious living room. You have a separate dining space, a separate living space, a custom built-in bar. And what I really like about this room is there's a little separate entrance for the butler. So if you want to have room service, in particular, if you want breakfast as room service, you can stay in bed, linger longer. You don't have to feel like you need to get up and, get ready for the butler to serve you breakfast. What he'll do is prepare the breakfast, little knock on the door, and then you know that your breakfast is ready. He leaves the separate area, and then voila, you can get up and enjoy that separate experience. And whether it's at the kitchen table, this dining table here, or out in the veranda, personally, I love enjoying the space on the veranda. Now, as you know, I like to share stories. On my last cruise, I was working, 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 and then I thought, oh my goodness, I'm really hungry. And I didn't want to make the time, even though it's so easy to, to go upstairs to the beautiful spaces and eat outside. So I called room service. Shh, don't tell my boss. I was trying not to bug the crew too much. Anyway, so I called and I said, can I just please have a salad and a half order of French fries? I felt like indulging in the fries. So within a few minutes, I bet you it was no more than 8 minutes. Here comes this beautiful salad and the perfect temperature French fries. But what really surprised me even was they know that I work for Crystal. I said, I'm family. Don't do anything extra for me. I've got this. I'm good. I'm a Gen Xer. We're all set. Well, the butler shows up and he went, and the white linen, he spread it over the table in the room. And then I had the full silver setting. I had the salt and the pepper shaker. It was just really lovely. Who has room service where they actually still bring a white linen tablecloth and set the space? So nice little touches for us there. The junior crystal penthouse, there are a few more of these rooms. They're 645 square feet, so a little smaller, but still quite spacious, larger than my first apartment by far, plus an additional 160 square feet of veranda. Now, some nice touches with this and that crystal penthouse. You can see they're spacious enough to really entertain. So if you have some friends on board, which we're all friends now, we can join whoever's in this room or any other for nice afternoon canapes. Every room has a butler plus the two stateroom attendants. And every afternoon, the butler will surprise us with canapes. Now, by day 4, I asked Rodrigo to please stop bringing me canapes because I was having pastries in the morning, coffee in the morning, breakfast, lunch, afternoon canapes, dinner, desserts. So it's up to you. It is whatever your preferences are. And every room also has beautiful fresh cut flowers. The Crystal Penthouse, those 4 rooms I was just telling you, there's actually 5 beautiful arrangements. And then we have 4 arrangements in the Junior Crystal Penthouse. So the larger the room, the more fresh cut flowers, which really also makes you feel so welcome. And of course, complimentary laundry. Now, the complimentary laundry starts with the Sapphire Veranda Suite. So, Sapphire Veranda, all the way up to that Crystal Penthouse. We include for every 10 days a bag of laundry. We include 5 garments that are pressed daily, plus you have the dry cleaning. And if you don't want to send that away, we also have a laundry service, and I'll show you that later. So everybody can do their own laundry if they wish, but why not send it out with the butler and let the staff do it for us? It's a nice treat. So the Sapphire Veranda Suite, I love this room because of the color scheme, because of the space. What you see here, you first come in the room, and that's this top picture here. You have this wonderful separate desk space. So for those of us who might want to connect with family or maybe do a few minutes of work, I like setting up my laptop actually right here. Then I still have this whole extra table. Plus there's the other table that's in front of the sofa. Then you come into this living space here, or excuse me, the bedroom space, which you can see is separated with a curtain. So I feel like it's really spacious. And if we're not going for that top crystal penthouse and we want to pamper ourselves more than the leaded room, this is my favorite room type, is the Sapphire Veranda space. Plus you have a stunning veranda. If you stretch your arms out, you can easily have 3 of you doing yoga together every morning. Very spacious.
Scott, you
Now
can
another
do yoga in the room.
No,
No.
what was that?
He said Scott's not going to do the yoga in the room. I told him he could do yoga in the room.
no.
He's saying no, no, not going to do. You could do it. So I want to point out. So I just recently had someone on Crystal, and this room was where she stayed, and she told me that when she got done with this, she never wants to stay anywhere else other than in this room. So it was, again, it was amazing. And she had work on the voyage as well. And she loved it. She said it was ample room to be able to spread out, do everything she had to do, and at the same time, truly enjoy her trip. So I think it's just
Great.
amazing features.
Thank you, Sean. Now, a surprise for me, when I first entered this room, I met my butler, Rodrigo. He came and knocked on the door. And I said, Rodrigo, it's lovely to meet you. I work for Crystal, so don't worry about me. Don't worry about laundry. I've really got this. Take a break from my room for the week. And he said, Marnie, it's Crystal. I said, I know, but we're family, so really it's all good. He says, where are you from? I said, I'm from Seattle. He says, oh, you must like coffee. I said, well, as a matter of fact, I do like coffee. And before I knew it, he got to know me a little bit better, and I thought it was just a conversation. On Crystal, it is never just a conversation. I should have known better because I work with Crystal. But what did Rodrigo do? I said, Rodrigo, I'm kind of a delicate flower. So when it comes to coffee, I like it really smooth, not too bitey. I'm not a Starbucks fan, just basically very, very smooth. So 5 minutes after he left, there's a knock on the door. I thought, oh, who is this? It was Rodrigo. And he brought me Cafe Lungo, and all the rooms have a Julius Meinl espresso maker. And the Cafe Lungo, I've never heard of it before. It is the smoothest coffee. And that is what he surprised me with. And I thought, wow, that's really something. So there's always just a little something that comes with that. And I also said, Rodrigo, you can take away the champagne. I'm not going to be drinking that. And how about we just fill I know, Sean, but I wasn't in the mood for champagne that day. And I said, how about we just fill my mini bar with sparkling water and still water? And every day, no matter how much water I drank, it was amply stocked with both. So that was a really nice touch too. Now, if we don't have the budget on this one to do a veranda room, don't worry, there's some beautiful ocean view suites as well. The only difference is you're going to have this lovely large ocean view window instead of walking out to the veranda. It's still 430 square feet for the veranda, or excuse me, for the sapphire ocean view, and very spacious. You still have that sort of separate area. Oh, and I forgot to mention the turndale that comes with truffles. Okay, confession. The truffles are this beautiful box of 9 handmade truffles. I had no willpower after traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast. I ate all 9 within 24 hours. And I said to Rodrigo, I have a confession. I ate them all. Please hide the box. I can't do any more. Well, he surprised me with another full box of truffles. So if you enjoy all in one day, don't worry, there's more to be had. Now, the aquamarine veranda, a stunning room, also a little smaller in size, 323 square feet plus your veranda and 86 square feet of that beautiful veranda space. You still have the binoculars and every other wonderful amenity that I have shared otherwise. And now here we have the double guest room with veranda, a little bit smaller, so definitely more on the affordability side if you're really trying to stretch where your budget is. 215 square feet, which is still really spacious. And look at the layout. Again, the feng shui by design, not cluttered, completely open, ample closet space. This is the first room where you don't have his and hers sinks. It's really nice. Those sapphire verandas in particular, his and her sinks, and a shower that is a massive walk-in shower longer than a standard bathtub. And with the standard guest room with the veranda, it's the same size as a standard guest room, double guest room with a window. So here's your ocean view double guest room. What I want to highlight here, we have about 12 rooms that are dedicated just for solo travelers. And I know Sean and Scott in our last voyage, we had a number of solo guests, and there's no solo supplement for those solo dedicated rooms, but they do go quickly because there's only about 12 per sailing. What I like to mention here is if you're a solo traveler or if you're enjoying this double guest room and you don't have a veranda, ta-da! Deck 7, it's like your own private veranda anyway. This is a wraparound, beautiful teak deck. I walked it every morning. This image is exactly as it came out with my iPhone. It's really wide, completely spacious. There was a group of people, probably about 20 or so, and they had all of these cameras and binoculars and whatnot set up. So I went in, I said, "What are we looking for? Are we watching for whales? What's happening?" And they said, "No, we're looking for albatross." And that was a new one on me, to be looking for albatross out at sea. So very interesting, ample space. The vintage room, when we were talking about everything that is included with Crystal Cruises, this is one of the items that is not. So that's why I have it as a special little uh, image here. This is either 12 guests or 14 guests maximum. It is a food and wine pairing experience. It's $290 per guest. If your group ends up being big enough where you take the whole room over, then we can do that in advance for you, but otherwise you would book it when you get to the ship. Now, the difference here is please come hungry, as in Thanksgiving feast hungry, because the food and wine pairing starts with welcome champagne, and then you have four whites, four reds, followed by a beautiful port experience. And they each come with their own course. So you really should come hungry. It's a total experience with the butlers coming, literally opening up the beautiful silver platters with everybody at the same time. So absolutely stunning. And it's a special selection of the wine that's handpicked from the head sommelier, and the menu is curated with our executive chef. Now, if you want to take it over as a group, we'll even put the menu together as you wish and choose the wines with you. Some other public spaces. Now, all of this is going to be included for us. The Computer University at Sea. This has twofold. We offer classes every single day for lifelong learning, or if you get stuck with your device and you need some help to figure out how does my new iPhone work with my PC, whatever it is, our dedicated technology concierge will help you with that. So on that last cruise, I took one of the classes and I was amazed. I spent an hour and a half with the lady and learned all sorts of new tips about photography and tagging and organizing. So they're really hip to whatever the latest and greatest as far as the technology is concerned. Now, sidebar story. I saw this same person working at the Computer University at Sea who literally taught me everything I know with my iPhone about 15 years ago. And I said, "My goodness, how's it all going? Tell me what's the latest and greatest. Give me a good story from the last cruise." And he said, "There is a guest whose mother is around 80. For Christmas, her son bought her a new iPhone, a new iPad, and a MacBook. She had no clue how to use it. He was, what was he? He was 60, maybe late 50s. Anyway, he bought the cruise for his mother so that he didn't have to teach her how to use all the technology. So there she was at the Computer University at Sea, learning everything. All right, so from there, next door, we have the Connoisseur Club. We're actually a few doors down. This is a beautiful space for meeting in the afternoon, gathering, or also after dinner. So beverages are served here. You can tell it's sort of a gentleman's lounge, but equally lovely and fun for the ladies. The Cove is what we call, really what many others would call, the beating heart of the ship, or when you're welcomed aboard. When you first step aboard, this is what you're going to see. You're welcome to the Cove and beverage of your choice. This is a lovely spot, like 5 to 6 p.m. is my favorite time here, or after dinner also. So there's all these different spaces. I like to say on Crystal, you can be a social butterfly or a hermit crab. It's completely up to you. So there are all these nooks and crannies. This is your home away from home. So as social as you wish to be, or maybe you want to head to the library, you can tell we have hundreds and hundreds of books to enjoy. Those are all for guests to enjoy and share during the voyage. The Palm Court. The Palm Court is on deck 10. It's forward. This is a very small part of the Palm Court area. It's actually a good 4 times the size of what we see here. So it's on both the starboard and port side of the ship. Goes all the way, it wraps around the bow. At the bow, there's this beautiful bar area. There's a hardwood floor, which is great for dancing. Every afternoon, from 3:30 to 4:30, we serve tea. So yes, I was enjoying high tea in addition to all the other food I was enjoying on board. And the high tea, it's a proper tea. So you have clotted cream with scones, fresh strawberries, beautiful pastries, and the other beverages of your choice. You don't just have to have tea. There's whatever you wish. This is your voyage, everything is included. But I really love the Palm Court for that. In the afternoons during high tea, we also have either a classical trio playing, we have a pianist, sometimes we have somebody singing. So every day it's a little something different. Then the Avenue Saloon, again, one of my favorite places before dinner, after dinner. The photo is just a little snippet of it. This is a space that really comfortably accommodates about 60 guests. We have a piano in here, so think sort of piano bar vibe. And we don't close this bar down until the last guest leaves. So if you're still enjoying your beverages at 11 at night and the pianist is still playing, we actually come through with late evening canapes, hot and cold, to make sure you have a little something to balance out the beautiful beverages you're enjoying. The Galaxy Lounge, this is where we have our evening entertainment and also our day lectures. I'll share with you in a second a few of the lecture ideas, but no matter is it the five-piece band that we have playing or the musicians that are tribute musicians, the lecturers who are coming every voyage, we have two and they're from different places. And it's really to engage and highlight what's happening locally. So wherever we are, these destinations are going to come alive with the guest lectures. Just fascinating. And you can also enjoy beverages here in the evening. And there's one story here. I was really taken aback and got pretty teary-eyed. There's a gentleman who was on the cruise who was a quadriplegic. And it was really something because to see the special wheelchair that he was in, the special lift that was required to bring him on, and truly all this gentleman wanted to do was to make sure his wife was having a great cruise. And to watch him watch her, that was really special. But then for me to watch him and also to watch the crew. So we had from the crew side, not me, but our onboard family had a special spot every night where he could easily come into the Galaxy Lounge, and I watched the crew watching this gentleman. So if there was any sort of special need ever, all eyes were on to make sure everybody was completely safe and comfortable. It was pretty special and very humbling to be there and watch that. So no matter what your wishes are or what your needs are, whether it's dietary or otherwise, our onboard family is watching to make sure that your wishes are there before you know what your wishes are. Then moving on to the Hollywood Theater. This is where we are going to show a few movies every day, and it's going to vary. We're going to have something new and whatever is happening at the moment. And in addition to that, we'll show something that's indicative to the area. So if we're cruising in Asia, probably something like Karate Kid, or if we're in Alaska, something like the movie Juno, plus whatever is recent. Now, I was sharing about the laundry earlier. If you really want to be in the most social room on the ship, go to the laundry room. This is where it's happening. If you want to know where any party is happening, any sort of event, who's doing what shore excursion, this is where it is. And there's the ironing boards. As you can also see, there's 10 washers and dryers total, and it's this per deck. So you can only access the washer and dryer spaces on your deck. So you need a room key to get in. You don't have to pack any laundry detergent. We have you covered on that. Now let's go into dining because we've been doing all the fun socializing and now we're ready for a beautiful dinner, and it is world class dining. We have 12 different dining experiences on board. Now, granted, I am counting the Scoops Gelato Bar because for me, ice cream is a meal. So that was another meal I was enjoying every day between all of that. And beautiful experiences no matter where we are here. With the gelato bar, it was so sweet. One of the people I was traveling with went to Scoops and she ordered pistachio gelato. On the second day, she had pistachio gelato. On the third day, pistachio gelato. Well, on the fourth day, she noticed that it was getting a little bit low in the container. So she leaned in and she told me she asked the person who was working, she said, "Is there going to be more pistachio gelato?" And the person leaned back and said, "Would you like there to be?" So very crystal, whatever your wishes are. But let's go into some of the other specialty dining. Nobu Matsuhisa, he has this beautiful restaurant with us. It is called Umi Uma. And Umi Uma is literally part sushi bar. So there's 6 chairs for a sushi bar, and then you have the main restaurant. Here's my tip for you. The specialty dining is included. We include 2 for every 10 days. The longer the voyage, the more will be included. So if you end up doing back-to-back voyages in the group here, then you would have more than the two. My wisdom for you is at 180 days prior to the cruise, make sure that you or Sean and the team book the dining for you. You can get on and access that because it is really popular. When you get on the ship, that very first day of the voyage, then it's open for everybody to have even more. If you choose more than the two included, then it's $75 per guest additional. Some people want to eat at Nobu's restaurant or the Osteria every single night of the voyage. So be sure to book in advance because if you wait until you get on the ship, then you'll be like me wondering, how am I going to get into the restaurant this evening? So definitely book in advance. So that was a little bit about Nobu. Actually, let me go back. Another tip for you with Nobu. If you go to a Nobu restaurant, you are not going to get out of that meal experience, the beautiful dining, for under 250 for two people. And that does not include your beverages. I'm just talking straight up, very simple meal. So when you're dining with us at Umiuma, try something you wouldn't try otherwise. If you don't like it, it's okay. It's called umikasa style, so you can just literally say to your waiter, I want whatever you suggest. Bring me the surprise, and they will bring you a plethora of choices from sashimi, the sushi. If you want something otherwise, there's beautiful soups, mushroom soups, and other beautiful meals for you to partake in. Now, the miso cod, that's my personal best tip for you. Please try the miso cod. That is a good $60 per serving if you're at a Nobu restaurant, and it is unbelievable, as is the tuna with the jalapeno pepper on it. Okay, moving into the beef bar. Now, the beef bar, yes, it's a specialty restaurant. This is a Michelin star, two-star Michelin dining experience. It started in Monte Carlo, and Riccardo Girardi, he has partnered with us, and we have this beautiful space on board. You can join us for lunch or for dinner. This does not count towards your specialty. I mean, this is the new best kept secret. It's unbelievable. So I would personally go here at least once for lunch and dinner, if not multiple times. And don't think of it as just beef bar. I think the name is a little misleading. Unless you've been to beef bar, you wouldn't know. It's leaf, beef, and reef. So you have vegetarian, you have seafood. The beef, of course, you have plenty of Wagyu beef style choices. The mashed potatoes are unbelievable. Just try something again that you wouldn't try at home. It's a joyful experience, really meant to be shared. So kind of like a tapas experience. Now coming on to Osteria. For anybody who has cruised with Crystal before, we had the Prego restaurant with pre the Great Pause. We updated that under Manfredi. He said, I love Italian food. I like the Italian of my people. So the Italian of his people are these wonderful gentlemen who between them have 3 Michelin stars. The Osteria de Video is very challenging to get space in if you wait until you're on board the ship. Again, remember, book this in advance. And there's ample space and just these wonderful touches, like the glass is hand blown in Burano, and literally like the water glasses, there's a little spot for your thumb and a little spot, very subtle indentations in the glass. And the wine glass is similar, and the beautiful vases that are there with the fresh cut flowers. So little details everywhere we look. And the tiramisu that's made tableside, unbelievable. But also my wisdom is make a few friends and come and share this experience so you can try a few bites of many different choices. Otherwise, you'll fill up very quickly if you're just eating of your own 2 or 3, however many choices you want. The food is stunning, and I encourage you to share that there. Now, moving on from the beautiful dining and all those experiences, I forgot to share one important thing actually, the Waterside restaurant. That's our main restaurant. And the Waterside, to me, it's as wonderful as any Michelin star dining experiences you'll have in the world. Also, the menu changes every night. So don't feel like you have to go to these specialty restaurants every night because the Waterside restaurant is equally stunning. And I just learned a tip from a travel advisor who said she learned that you can ask for a half order of things. I thought, well, that's a great idea. Then you can try more. So if you're not wanting to share and you just want taste of your own, you can certainly do that at Waterside also. and it's all open seating for waterside. If you have a big group, if we end up in a large group with all of us, then it would be either 6:30 or 8:30, but we're pretty flexible. The specialty dining is going to be more of a set time because it's limited to just roughly 60 guests per night. Okay, moving on to our entertainment. We talked about the beautiful entertainment in the Galaxy Lounge that's either the five-piece band or whatnot, but also in that cove space, we have a pianist. Even late in the evening, we'll have a pianist playing in that beautiful cove. There's dancing. We have 4 ambassador hosts for every voyage. So, ladies, if you want to dance and you don't have somebody to dance with you, we have 4 gentlemen. I've tested all the ambassador hosts. They're great dancers. Cruise directors, also great dancers. And on that voyage, one of the professional dancers said, "Oh, let's dance." And I said, "I am so not a professional dancer. I do not know what I'm doing." He said, "Oh, don't worry, Marnie. 4 steps to the left, 4 steps to the right." So they make it really convivial, easy, and comfortable. Now, the lectures, I have just a few that I've put in here. Some were on the voyage with me, whether they are movie stars, presidents, people who've been with the Oscars. We have wonderful entertainers like James Fox. The point of our entertainment is not just the entertainment. They're completely engaged through the rest of the cruise. So, for example, James Fox, when I got off the ship, I had some of my group with me. We were walking to the beach. Well, who was there but James Fox and his mother? And he had this total conversation with all of us right there on the beach. And that's the type of engaging entertainers that we will have, whether it's the lectures learning about science or ornithology or the marine life, really depends on where we are in the world. We have tribute musicians like the Elton John tribute musicians, comedians. So every voyage, you're going to have a really wonderful choice. Now, let's go back to some of the other spaces around our home this week. The pool. I like to joke, but jokes usually come with a little bit of a true story. Of German heritage I am, and my family loves to go out at 5:30 in the morning, wherever we're traveling around the world, and block our pool spaces with towels. But guess what? You don't have to do that on Crystal. There's ample space no matter what time of day. So please feel free to sleep in, and you'll see all around the pool spaces, hot tub spaces. I like to highlight here too, you see there's this jogging track that also goes around and above the pool. So we have that walking wraparound teak deck 7, and then we have this beautiful space which leads into the bow. And this is key because we're going to go into Alaska, and in Alaska, you really want to be outside. If you're not in a private veranda, you must go outside on deck and soak in the awe of the glaciers and the wildlife. And that whole bow space, there's never more than about 50 people because there's so much space around the ship. So please enjoy. Spa services, we have also acupuncture. Most of the spa treatment rooms are facing the sea. We also have pickleball, tennis, golf instruction on board. There's a golf instructor literally on every voyage. We have golf, like a driving range at the aft part of the ship that's enclosed in. We have a beautiful workout space. We have a steam room, a sauna, and everybody may enjoy that at no additional cost. Unless you want to have like a one-on-one private golf lesson, then we'll arrange that for you too. But please feel free to enjoy. Now, we cruise all around the world, and today we're going to focus on these three voyages: July 12th of 27, August 2nd. So we're doing Alaska, a little coastal, and then I'm going to surprise us with that February 29th. So let's just go ahead and start with my favorite. I love, love, love Alaska. So Sean and Scott, thanks for picking Alaska for hosting this wonderful group. We're going to travel literally through the Inside Passage. The Seymour Narrows is part of the very famous, most famous part of the Inside Passage. So I haven't labeled this Inside Passage, but that's what this is here. This would be technically the Outside Passage if you're going on the west coast of Vancouver Island. Now, having worked on a small boat in Alaska, that's why I'm so passionate about this. A whole season, I did this a gazillion years ago. There's something about going through that Seymour Narrows. You literally are on the ship and you look to the left and to the right, starboard and port, and you think, how is the ship getting through this narrow passage? It looks like you have inches on either side. So it's really magical. Okay, let's go ahead. This is July 12th to July 19th. So we're cruising for a week. We're going to start in Vancouver, and I'll tell you why we selected this cruise together. And Sean and Scott, it was so fun picking it with you. To me, when you start on a northbound voyage, so you're starting in Vancouver, it's cosmopolitan, it's really easy for the airlift, super interesting. Their tagline is literally spectacular by nature, which they are. So you have mountains all around. You're going to cruise under the Lionsgate Bridge as you go out to the Pacific Ocean before you go up the Inside Passage. And then what you do is literally we're building and building until towards the end of the voyage, you see the glaciers, which to me is like the exclamation mark in the cruise. That's why I really like this routing to go from Vancouver northbound. So the Seymour Narrows, here's just a little bit of an image. I mean, imagine a cruise ship coming through these narrow spaces, unbelievable. So from Vancouver, Seymour Narrows, that wonderful inside passage. Then our first stop is going to be Ketchikan. This is the famous Creek Street where ladies of the night back in the day would be, not in today's day, but definitely back in the day. And literally you can see downtown Ketchikan, this is about a 10-minute walk from where the ship comes in. What I love about Crystal, where the ships come in, literally you can walk right to the heart of town. If we're ever somewhere where you can't walk to the heart of town, we're going to include transportation to get you there. But in Alaska, we're right in the heart of town. And look how lush and robust the evergreens are here. We're in the middle of the whole Tongass National Forest here. It's great for eagle viewing, bear viewing. The salmon are coming up in this area. And the time of year we're doing this cruise is really great for the salmon. So if you want to go salmon fishing, excellent. If you don't want to go salmon fishing and you just want to see them, watch for little splashes in the water, and that's literally the salmon. Also from Ketchikan, this is a really great location to do a float plane trip because from Ketchikan, there's an area called Misty Fjords National Monument. And in the mornings, it's like this little magical mist because of the temperature variations. So the whole area until about 10:30, more or less, get that it changes throughout the season, but more or less you're going to have this magical fog and you just think, wow, it seems like elves are going to pop out. I mean, it's that kind of magical in the Ketchikan area. So float plane trip is going to be really exceptional. You can fly and be on this very remote lake in the middle of nowhere, or again, try your hand at fishing. Next up, our next port is Klawak. Now, this is really a fun town, population 710. This is getting into the real Alaska. Not many people are coming here. This is where the Tlingits first settled, and the Tlingit and the Haida are the indigenous peoples of this part of Alaska and also British Columbia. The reds and the blacks that you typically see of the clothing, that's the Tlingit and the Haida cultures. And they are very well known for their totem carving. So if you have a curiosity about totems, it is one of the most exceptional collections that you'll see. And this is what we're cruising through. Look, it's such untouched land, which is also why I love Alaska, because it's so humbling. Whether you're in front of a glacier or in front of spaces like this, you feel just so minuscule and humbled, like you're just at peace and you're connecting with the earth and these wide open spaces. That's a treat because other places in Alaska can be really crowded. And I'm glad that we're not coming into a lot of the crowded places. Some of them, like Skagway, which we do on some of our itineraries, come into Skagway. In the winter, population of Skagway is like 783, and in the summer, it's 20,000 every day with all the cruise ship guests. So that's why we've highlighted some of these wonderful ports because it's not as crowded. But this is the real Alaska. Okay, our next stop is Icy Strait Point. Now, what you don't know about Icy Strait Point, and I don't have it on the map for us. Actually, let me go back to the map so we can show you this. Okay, here's Icy Strait Point. Now, Icy Strait Point is the entrance to Glacier Bay. Glacier Bay is one of the national parks. You can only access Glacier Bay by water. So you're either going to fly in by water or take a cruise into water. What's special is look at this. This is all of the Pacific Ocean. It's meeting with the glaciers of this Glacier Bay, and all of that water is churning. So it's magnificent for wildlife viewing because the humpback whales, the orca whales, stellar sea lions, they're all there feeding on the krill and the phytoplankton. So my wisdom for you, now I'm going to come back to our wonderful itinerary here. At Icy Strait Point, there are a number of shore excursions. Crystal doesn't cruise into Glacier Bay and back. We want you to be able to do what you want to do. My best tip for you is book the excursion that is a small boat excursion, which will do whale watching in Glacier Bay because it'll be a small boat. And if the whales are breaching or doing whatever spy hopping, interesting behavior that they're doing, you're going to feel it differently than you would from the beautiful crystal ship. So that small experience is going to be from Icy Strait Point. And there's kayaking and other wonderful adventures too, where you can just walk around this historical town. Next up, we're going to stop in Sitka. Sitka is really historical. This is where we bought Alaska from the Russians for pennies on the dollar a gazillion years ago. So this is that whole heartland and the beautiful church. It has the onion dome that you see otherwise in Russia. So that is a really neat bit of history. Sitka also is very robust with its fishing. In the port of Sitka, keep your eyes in the trees because when the fishermen come in Sitka, literally they're getting rid of some of the scraps from the fishing right there. And the eagles are just sitting by the tens in the trees. And you see the eagles coming to fish on those extra scraps. Sitka is great for doing some sea kayaking. That whole sort of sound area there is very calm. That's my best adventure for us. And then the exclamation mark that I was talking about, cruising Hubbard Glacier. Hubbard Glacier is the largest tidewater glacier. There are many tidewater glaciers around Alaska, but this one is really magnificent. She is 30 stories tall and 3 miles wide. Imagine 3 miles wide and 30 stories tall. So that's why we've included Hubbard Glacier so you can literally hear it, see it. There's always some sort of activity. If we're lucky to see her calve, sometimes you'll see it from the top. Sometimes glaciers will calve from underneath because 7/8 of the glacier is underwater. So look in those spaces to see the wildlife and all of the activity because they're coming to feed on that motion that is coming from all of that. And then we conclude in Seward, the beautiful town of Seward. It's on the Kenai Peninsula. It's about a 3 hour drive from Seward or a 3 hour train ride to get up to Anchorage, where you'll either fly home or you could certainly curate a wonderful land experience and go into Denali National Park or up to Fairbanks. There's many other add-ons that are possible there. And moving on to our next cruise. This is really hot. We have a similar cruise in 2026. There's 2 rooms left. If you just want to try a little something, you're like, I've never been on Crystal before. I want to see how it is before I commit to doing a longer voyage. This is the one, and this is one to book really early because it sold out so quickly for 2026. So it goes down the coast, Vancouver, southbound to San Diego. It's August 2nd to August 9th. And we're stopping in, as you can see, Victoria, Astoria, San Fran, and then Catalina Island. So from Vancouver, we know spectacular by nature and a great place for some pre-excursions. We won't talk about too many in detail, but if you have questions, I'll linger longer and happy to answer those. Our first port call is going to be Victoria. Here's what I love. Most cruise lines who are doing Alaska cruises stop in Victoria as a courtesy call because the Jones Act requires you to have at least one foreign port. And so usually, if you look at other brands, they're stopping in Victoria for just a few hours so they can say that they've been in a foreign port. Like a round trip Seattle cruise stops in Victoria for a few hours. I love that we spend the day in Victoria. It's really charming. The Butchart Gardens are about 45 minutes from the heart of Victoria. This is the Empress Hotel right in the front. Beautiful for high tea. Really interesting architecture all around. And Canadians are just lovely and they're still welcoming us. So don't be shy because of what you might hear about Canada and the US. We are very welcomed, especially in the northwest part of Canada. They really rely on tourism and it's a wonderful spot to visit. Next up, we're going to skirt from Victoria, cruise south to Astoria. And as you're doing your research on Astoria, you'll find Jacob Astor, you'll hear about Lewis and Clark, and you can explore all of that really fascinating history. But a fun story you might not know about is the history between Astoria and China. And have you ever heard of getting shanghaied?
Yeah. Yeah.
It started in Astoria because the Chinese shipping companies would come and then the Chinese crew would be like, "Hi, I'm out of here." And they would just not come back to the ship. So then the Chinese merchants would be like, "Oh my goodness, we need some crew to work on the ship to get back to China." So literally, they would Shanghai the Americans, and then the Americans would find themselves on these Chinese ships going back over to China. That's literally getting shanghaied in Astoria. So really rich history. There's also a wonderful maritime museum. So if you're into nautical history, it is the most interesting maritime museum, and it's right there in the heart of town. There's a cute little train, there's lots of walking, lots that you can see and do to get a feel for that Northwest area. Next up, we'll stop in San Francisco. I think we all know the beauty of San Francisco, especially the Golden Gate Bridge and all the shore excursions that are possible here, going out to Alcatraz or enjoying some of the beach walks. I think really getting into a trolley and doing, the San Francisco treat, go up and down with a trolley and explore the Chinatown. Chinatown is not to be missed. You'll see chicken feet and all sorts of interesting things. You'll feel like you're in China when you're in San Francisco for some of that. And also the whole wharf area with the hundreds of sea lions that are barking right at Ghirardelli Square. Try your hand at chocolate as you're hearing the sea lions. So again, every place we stop, you will always have the opportunity to get off for the full day, usually about 8 to 5 on any of these cruises, so plenty of time to explore. The next day, we're going to stop in Catalina Island. Now, this was really interesting. When I stopped in Catalina Island, I'd heard about it for years, had sailed past it, but never
It's too
stopped.
cold for me.
It literally feels like the Med of America. It feels like lifestyles of the rich and famous, but comfortable enough for us West Coasters. And I know we have people from all over the US joining us, but it is very casual at the same time. So there's this elegance and it's really peaceful. There's hardly any cars driving around, really lovely to walk, to hike up to the top of the hill and then look down to the sea. And what is his name? Jacques Cousteau. So Jacques Cousteau, there's a gentleman, now the name is escaping me. There's this wonderful dive shop, and the gentleman there has partnered with the Jacques Cousteau Society, and they're doing all of this wonderful research. So if you're a diver or if you're interested in marine biology, that's a little tip that you might not know about. So take a peek at that. It's a little unknown secret, and his museum of all of these incredible bits of dive equipment. Remarkable. I'll leave it at that for you to explore. Then we'll conclude our cruise in San Diego, which is so easy for flying home. Stay as long as you like, go to the San Diego Zoo, explore. What I love about San Diego is literally to start or finish a cruise here, the airport is about 10 minutes away. It's small, it's easy. You can walk around, enjoy some craft beer or just the boardwalks, whatever is calling you, a wonderful food scene, taco trucks, feel a little bit of that Mexican influence within the safety of San Diego and then enjoy coming home. All right, our third choice, and I'm trying to go quickly because I know I'm taking a lot of time. Thanks for listening. The third voyage that we're doing as a group is Eyes on the America and Caribbean, Cartagena to Fort Lauderdale. So literally going from Colombia, hitting a few beautiful ports in the Caribbean, and then up to Fort Lauderdale. This is February 29th of 2028, a beautiful time to be escaping snowstorms or the rain of the West Coast or wherever you are. This is just a really nice getaway time. I like the February, March getaway, kind of break up the post-Christmas doldrums, but summer's not quite here. So the 29th through March 10th, we're going to start in Cartagena, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You'll be stunned as you walk around with the incredible colonial architecture. The coffee that you drink, oops, and I see I spelled that incorrectly. Sorry about that. It should be an O, Colombi. Sorry about that, my typo. In Colombia, the coffee that you drink is not the Colombian coffee that we can buy in America. So buy Colombian coffee here. It tastes completely different. It's smooth and wonderful. Here you'll also see, just like you see in magazines, it's truly like that walking around in a magazine. You'll see the women who have those baskets just full of fruit walking the streets. As you're walking the heart of town, you'll also have the opportunity to see very interesting food, like chocolate covered ants might be something that interests you, but if not, there's beautiful fresh fruit also to enjoy. And Colombia is also well known, of course, for its emeralds and its gold. And again, I'm sorry for my typo there. Next up, our first port is going to be Cologne in Panama. In Panama, the whole history of the Panama Canal. Now, on this voyage, we're not transiting the canal, but we want you to still have that feel of what the canal is like. It was started in 1881, completed in 1914. It has quite the storied history. The Gatun Locks and Gatun Lake, Gatun Dam, they're all on the Caribbean side. So one of the excursions that we can do is literally eight miles or so south of where the ship comes in, and that is the Gatun Locks and Dam. So if you're interested in the canal itself, that would be an excursion for you out of Cologne. But otherwise, the birding is also really rich, similar to Colombia. You're going to have in these two places, Colombia and Panama, such diversity of birds. It's a complete cacophony of birds you have never imagined hearing before, especially Colombia, hundreds and hundreds. The most biodiverse country in the world for birding is Colombia. Number two, I think, is Panama, followed by perhaps Costa Rica. But the birding, take a look at that. If you're a birder, you don't have to bring your binoculars if you're in an aquamarine room or higher. We'll provide those for you. This is well known for that. And I want us to remember this climate is totally different than Alaska. Alaska, I want you to pack like an onion. Think of layers. You want to be able to peel them off or put them back on. With this part of the world, the temperature is going to be warmer, humid. When you're on the crystal ship, we'll always have cooling washcloths for you. We'll make sure as we're cruising that we also have cool beverages. And then from Panama, moving into Puerto Limon, which is really known as a fishing village and also a banana town. So you'll see that whole sort of railroad connection, but it literally looks like what we're seeing in the right. So lush, diverse, wonderful little monkeys swimming from the trees. So keep your ears and eyes open for those and incredible excursions. My favorite excursion is in Roatan because you get to meet the sloths and they are so cute. The kids in Honduras literally play with them as if they're stuffed animals. It's really something to behold. And there's a wonderful reserve. So if you're into sloths, I encourage you to meet them here in Roatan. But otherwise, it's Roatan. We have the full day for diving, snorkeling, swimming. Crystal doesn't organize dive trips, but you can certainly find dive shops who are doing diving experiences here. We'll offer an excursion to swim with the dolphins. You can do a glass bottom boat. Also, butterflies are really robust in Honduras. So to experience that, so many of us live in cities where we don't see that many butterflies. And the magic to think of literally those wings and what is that inspiring around the rest of the world. So that is Honduras. Most cruise experiences don't include a stop in Honduras. This is pretty rare. I'm excited that we're stopping here. Our next visit is going to be in Santo Tomas in Guatemala.
Mhm.
Now, Guatemala is best known for its Mayan ruins. So we offer a number of excursions where you can literally learn about the Mayan culture. This particular city is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And again, birding. We're talking over 400 species of birds, but that pales in comparison to the number of species of birds in Colombia. So you're getting the theme. This is a really great adventure journey, but also warm, the rainforest hikes, the waterfalls, all sorts of explorations and vibrant colors of the cities. So take a look at this. These are the true colors that you're going to see, the bright yellows and oranges and greens, and they just call to walk and explore. Next up is Belize City, and I encourage us here again, another UNESCO World Heritage Site with more Mayan ruins. this would be my recommended port to do an excursion to see some of those Mayan ruins. And where possible, you'll be able to hike to the top, but it's not always possible with all of the ruins, and you can see they're pretty steep. You don't have to climb up to the top. Regardless, it's humbling being in the space of the ruins because they're literally in the middle of the thick jungle. And you think, how did they build these and why? What's the story? So to have that sort of come alive, but also look at little creatures. You'll see sometimes little leaf cutter colonies by the thousands, and they're just cutting the leaves and having their paths. There's nearby caves. So good adventures to be had here. Our next stop is Cozumel, Quintana Roo. Here, this is really more known for the beaches, very pristine. So here you're going to sort of recharge at the end of the voyage, your last chance to get lost in those Mayan mysteries before we come into Fort Lauderdale, which is the Venice of America. If you haven't been, there's lots of lovely waterways and channels here. You also experience the culture of a lot of diversity of food. There's many people who have moved from Cuba into the greater Fort Lauderdale area, so have a Cuban sandwich when we're here. World-class museums, interesting architecture, and the nightlife. So do yourself a favor and spend an extra night at the end of the voyage here. Now, really quickly, we have specials, of course, that Sean and Scott and team have put together for you. Crystal has a referral program. So if you have Cruise with Crystal and you're bringing a friend, please refer the friend and you will have a savings, and your guest, your friend will also have that 5% savings. If you book and pay far enough in advance, which we can do for those 2027 and 28 cruises, so it's at least 12 months in advance. You also save 10% for paying in full. But check on the penalties and the timing of that because it's different when you're paying in full. So also always book insurance, whether crystal or otherwise. You never know what might happen. I always encourage guests to book insurance. And then the best promotion that we have right now, which we have with the groups, is the Sail and Save, and it's up to 2,000 per room plus up to 500 onboard credit. So everything that is included, we saw at the very beginning of the presentation, shore excursions are not included. So this really helps that extra shipboard credit to cover the shore excursions. I have found that the shore excursions vary in price. You'll find plenty of them for around the $100, 120 per person range, and then on up, depending on what you're doing. But they are reasonably priced, especially for what's included. And with the shore excursions, we're never going to really fill something all the way. We want you to have space. You have space on our ship, our home away from home. So a sprinter van that would normally hold about 20 guests, we might have 14, 15, and then we have extra room for the driver, plus the guide, plus some treats, surprises. So always having the space. So thank you. It was a lot of listening. Now I want to open it up to questions.
Well, and I just want to say thank you so much because this was really, really helpful. And I want to point out the three itineraries that we talked about. There's a couple little things about it. First, I want to point out Alaska again, just simply amazing. I still don't know why she put that picture of me swimming in the water up there, but at the same time, Marnie, I thought that was just going to be like that was sent to you in private. But okay, if you need to broadcast that, that's fine. But the thing is, then going from Vancouver, that whole West Coast cruise. That we picked that cruise because I can't think of a more relaxing wellness cruise for anyone. We have some specials worked out with actually some folks that are going to in some of the ports with respect to wellness and health and well-being, as well as wine tastings, food samplings, of course, because we're big on that. And then we do have a couple of wellness coaches that are going to come on, including a yoga instructor at some of those ports, just because we thought it was going to be a really fun. And think of it this way: that you're going there, the sampling of all those wineries, the sampling of everything straight down the coast, and then you come back to this luxurious. I mean, there's nothing more luxurious than coming back to that crystal ship afterwards. And the food on board. I mean, how many Michelin stars do we see today? I don't know because I'm in Tennessee and I cannot count that way. Okay. I was still trying to figure out how fast the train was going that left from the station. All right. When it was trying to catch the other train. But here's the thing is all of that was there for you. And then that last cruise, Scott and I had the pleasure of going to Cartagena on a cruise, and I can't tell you enough about how beautiful Cartagena is, how peaceful it is, how truly luxurious it is. And the pre that we've been able to work out for folks in Cartagena, that to us was like the ultimate food. That cruise was nothing other than cultural immersion and culinary delights. That is what that cruise is. And what I love about it too is think about how cheap that airfare is because you're only doing one real flight, right? Because the one to Cartagena, and you know what? Those are cheap flights. So again, it's like everything is rolled in there. Of course, on the shore excursions, they do an A&K does an amazing job. No one really does it better. We do have some private ones that will advertise for everybody and let y'all know. But at the same time, these are all really good, solid cruises that if you want wellness, if you want to, if you're seeking wellness, if you're seeking relaxation, if you want that to be able to come back from a vacation and actually feel rested for a change and full, but not just full from food, but also full from having true experiences. These are the cruises for you. I can't, that, I mean, I really am excited about them. And we even have a little flash sale kind of going on a cruise that we have nicknamed the Guacamole Cruise. Just so you know, if anyone's available in September of this year, it's not guacamole, but it starts in Guayaquil, Ecuador. Yay! And then it goes to San Juan. So if anybody's interested in that, get with me, get with Trish afterwards. We'll be more than happy to kind of fill you in a little bit more about that. But we really wanted to focus on these for 27 and 28 because you know everybody's doing that. Questions that came through, a lot of these I can kind of flip through quickly. For Marnie, one, I got to ask questions about if people are vegan or vegetarian, and that's not a problem on Crystal. They will take care of you. They will absolutely take care of you. There is no questions that you will be able to eat while you're on board this ship. As a matter of fact, I believe that they even come to you and send you, they'll get with you the day before a lot of times to kind of go through menu choices, menu options, and things that you may like or may enjoy while you're on board the ship. Yes, there are special solo sailor rates. And they even have special solo rooms, but there's only about 12 of them, I believe, if I remember correctly. So those are ones that if you're interested in going on those and you want those solo sailor rooms, we do want to get those early. And we do want to look at those early. And on some of the sailings that we have, we have some very good offers for folks on solo sailors. So again, that's one of the other reasons why we kind of picked those out. And now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to check in with everybody. If you have a question, please feel free to go ahead and take the mute off, and make sure everybody knows, and shout out any questions you have, because if not, I will call on you. Although I can't see the list of everybody. Anybody have anything? No, Catrice is shaking her head no, but I know she's got something. She always has a good one. No? No? Barry, you got anything?
Marnie was so good.
It's very true. Oh, wait, I've got somebody in the waiting room. Well, somebody's in the waiting room now. I guess they missed out on that one, but there you go. Oh, it's okay. As we got it. Okay. Marty, okay. Trish, do you have anything?
The only thing I can say is I sailed with them in January and it was the best 2 weeks of my life, seriously. And we went from Mombasa to Mumbai, and I loved my sea days because I got to stay on the ship. I got to enjoy the staff. I got to enjoy the food, and I got to enjoy sitting next to the pool, and I got to enjoy the entertainment. And it was just really one of the best cruises I've been on, and I like to cruise. So no one will regret taking a Crystal cruise. And I've told that to many, many people. So I look forward to my next Crystal cruise. Thank you, Marnie.
And I'm
Trish.
going to ask Miss Paula. I know that you tried to sneak in here. I'm not going to mention what time you actually logged on, but you did much better in timing this week. So my only question: you got anything there, Miss Paula?
No, Marnie was great. Thank you so much.
Oh, come on! You always have
Yep.
something.
No, she actually covered everything. I am pleasantly surprised.
She was
Hey.
something.
And she always says something, Marty. So you don't know that's a huge compliment. Shooter, do you have anything?
Nope, I'm good.
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
no.
Can't wait to be with everybody on board.
Yeah,
Wow.
let's all cruise together. Let's go.
Yeah.
Come
I'm
on.
game. I just got to talk to the boss.
I know Catrice is, and I'm getting messages, so we're good. So there you go. All right, guys. Thank you, Marnie. Thank you so much for every.
You.
And Marnie, I do believe that we have a lovely incentive for these folks if they book by within 2 weeks. Is that right?
Yes, they'll have $125 per person shipboard credit.
Yay.
And is that combinable with their virtuoso?
Yes, it is.
Yay.
Just
love
for
Marnie.
you.
Okay.
Ching.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Marnie.
See you.